We're back and we're turning out a mini-series for Pride season. We want to use this opportunity to celebrate the pillars of our community. Hear stories from some amazing people and lift the voices that deserve to be heard.
Tune in to hear from every part of the LGB and the T, as well as amazing representatives from our local queer charities that work tirelessly to provide help and support to us.
Yes, and in the current climate of the world, uplifting stories and helping each other, it matters more than ever. Since we started this podcast in our first season, we felt all the love from you. So this is our love letter to all of you and for Pride. Fill your boots, we're all pooped on Tootsie Train. Tootsie Train.
Hi, I'm Sean McKay, and just like Manjaro, I'm good in small doses.
Hi, I'm Gordon. I like big openings, but happy endings are much better.
And I'm Anthony Carson. I'm only really into astrology if it's promising lots of money and big dicks.
And welcome back
to Tootsie Trade.
So here we are on the G part of our Pride edition of Tootsie Trade, and we have two fabulous guests. Tell everybody your names.
I'm Jamie Lucas Campbell.
And
I'm Jude Copeland.
And they are fabulous homosexuals. So it's lovely to have you on, boys. How are you?
Great.
Good.
Happy to be here.
We couldn't shut you up before the mic went on.
I know, you went
and
quite
now
quiet.
the mic's on, you're like,
I'm a professional.
You are a professional.
He's got shy.
So basically, for you, we're having people on and we just want to find out your backstories about your coming out experience, what you've done, what you've learned from being a gay man in the world. Pass on your wealth of knowledge. Yeah. I obviously know you both from being out in the gay scene or whatever, and this is probably why you're looking at me, because I'm sober today and going, I don't reckon, what is different about this fucking bitch today?
You don't smell of aftershock.
No, Sambuca.
Sambuca, come on.
But yes, literally that. So,
I haven't met either of you. This is my first time meeting both of you guys. So I'm going to be asking questions that maybe some of you guys here have never met these boys before, to try and dig a little deeper. I'm a little bit of a curious cat. So if I ask anything too personal, just tell me to fuck up.
Yeah.
Will do.
So Jade, start with you. When did you come out is the thing?
Probably. So I'm the boring person on this
Right.
podcast. I'm the token boring
Why?
person.
No,
Because
that's Sean.
it's just, well, okay. But at least he's pretty. I came out in stages, and it was really, really, really slow and really tough. So I didn't know any queer people in secondary school or actually in university either. I went to law school, and I slowly came out whenever I was training to be a solicitor, and I was the only openly LGBTQIA plus person in my year of about 150 people.
What year was this?
1840.
Around about, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was only probably, I qualified as a solicitor about 12, 13 years ago.
Right.
So it wasn't like a million years ago.
No.
But
when did you first know you were gay then?
Probably in my 20s. I didn't really have much of a frame of reference for what it meant to be LGBTQIA+.
Where are you from? Originally?
Policeman wouldn't ask
No.
No. Well, it's context.
What's your home address?
I get a blue bus, and we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Well, it's context for, depending on where you live, can sometimes make it more difficult as well.
I think it continues to be really, really difficult for people in rural parts of here. I'm from Saintfield, and that's only kind of 10, 12 miles from where we're sitting now. And exactly, yeah. So yeah, it was still really, really, I didn't have any queer neighbours. I didn't have any openly queer people in my life. So it was a wee bit of a sort of voyage of discovery. And my only frame of reference was kind of negative stereotypes in the media.
Okay, yeah.
And that was really not something that I wanted to be like, and I didn't think I was like, and I probably am not like.
Yeah.
But the media...
I've
really
spoke
kept me
about
in.
that before, like existing when that was a major thing over here. I didn't think it impacted me until it was years later, and I've been out years thinking I'm confident as a gay man, and then I went through like a rough patch and was like, oh, that came to me in a way that I recognized it as traumatizing. Do you know?
Yeah, it's really, really weird. I mean, now, I do have like a bit of a profile in the community, and I deal with really, really difficult scenarios, and you know, people who are in need of help, whether they're refugees or whether they have something going on in their lives around domestic abuse, so things like that. But it's really, really weird because in some ways, you know, I've forgotten all about it and I've moved on past the trauma and all of those things. And then I remember going to a night in Belfast, and it was for gay men, and it was really, really funny because I walked up and down the street a couple of times thinking, oh, what if I'd be really awkward going in. And then I realized, like, I have, not to be an idiot about it, but like I've won awards for being gay. And I'm too scared to walk into a bar with loads of other gay men. It is so weird what
Was
your
that like
brain
a
does.
self-realization moment?
It
or-
was, yeah. It's like, what are you doing?
What was your first experience in a gay bar like? Can you remember it?
Do you know, I remember being in the Kremlin years ago, and they had, like, I think this only, but I don't know if this actually ever existed. Was there like a weird computer room? Because nobody else.
Yes.
Yes.
Jamie's horrified. Yes, there was a weird computer.
For security or
Yes, we were like spying on people. No.
You could put people's emails
Yeah.
into it, like add them on email if you met them.
Its first inception was when the Kremlin first opened. It was before Grindr, so people were using gaydar in the club to like catch up with people, you know, on gaydar, and it was being
So
used.
they were
in-
out and they were sitting.
Imagine like
online.
going
It was-
into a gay space.
Well, you know the way. Remember, internet cafes were a
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
Yeah.
which makes ridiculous sense now.
Is
but in
gaydar even a
context of the
thing
time-
anymore?
oh.
Does gaydar exist anymore?
I don't know if it's like Bebo. It should maybe get brought back.
R.I.P.
Do you remember Lads? Is that still a
Yes.
No.
What is this?
My
thing?
friend,
Dude,
my best
Lads
friend,
was
who's
like a gay sort of like, it was like before Grindr. It was like a, yes, put a profile up, and it was kind of like a gay
my best
Facebook
friend
kind
who,
of thing.
who he's married to. They met on Lads.
Yeah, I can remember that was like my
Success
first
story.
introduction to like
It's kinda-
online gay things.
Lads is given a bit of straight man porn thing. Though.
Scally porn.
No, it was like gaydar. They were around the same time. Then they were kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah, but I think I have a feeling gaydar morphed into Grindr. I feel like that
I'm so
it was like the
remedial class. I
pre
don't know any of this stuff.
the
I'm from the past.
empted thing of Grindr.
So are they.
I'm
That
the
was from
Dowager
like
Countess.
that was like from the early 2000s. Yeah, isn't that right?
And apparently now there's like there's loads of different ones. There's like Scruff, there's Sniffies, there's
Sniffies.
Bumble.
Fab guys, fab swingers, scruff, woof.
Tinder.
Are these all the
Tinder.
ones you've completed?
Hinge.
I'm gold star on every level. I know
He's
the
ticked
cheat.
them
I know
all
the
off.
cheat codes as well. So if you ever decide to dabble,
Little
I'll.
side quest.
Craigslist was popular back in the 2000s.
Yes, and more in the States as
Craigslist?
well. Craigslist.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, since we're on topic, the apps and things like what is taken away from the community, and what do you think of that? Well, you don't think anything because you're never
No.
on them.
No.
GMA.
I don't know. I came out in, I think it was probably, so I grew up in Yonkers, New York, so it's just north of the Bronx.
Native New Yorker.
Yeah, I'm a New Yorker. Like a cup of coffee and a slice of pizza. That's my thing. So yeah, I grew up in Yonkers, and it's very much like a small community. I compare like North Belfast to where I grew up. And
Wow.
Are they easily confused?
the
A little
same
bit different.
vibe-
Said no one ever.
the same vibe, same transport, the same bars.
So
like-
do you have like a Glengormley in New York?
well, I would say more. I would say, we've got the new lodge. Yeah.
Wow.
Got the new lodge.
Did Rihanna do a music video on it? That new lodge is way better.
We had Mary J. Blige, but that's where I grew up, and so it was seeing visibly, like openly queer people there was, it was impossible. It wasn't something that we talked about either. Like I finished high school and went to college. I stayed at home, so I didn't really have that uni experience, and which meant that I didn't find out what it was like to have a gay relationship or what it was like to kiss a man until my 20s. And yeah, it was just, we didn't have that sort of surrounding or that kind of that relationship to people out there. So the apps were my kind of introduction to what it meant to be queer, what it meant to be gay. My first ever like gay friend, I met him online, and that turned into just like this best friendship, and then he connected me to other people. And then I started going we have this bar in Hell's Kitchen called Boxers. So mind you, Hell's Kitchen is about 15 miles away from where I grew up, but I'd go there quite often.
My favorite place in New York.
It was wild.
Love Hell's
I miss
Kitchen.
it. But they have this bar called Boxers, and so all the bartenders, they only wear boxers.
Plot twist.
It's the
Wow.
only gay sports bar chain in the US.
Wow.
And so I'd go there pretty much, I'd say 3 times a week. They'd have an amazing happy hour. And then I started meeting guys there. Like I went on my first date at the pizza place next door. And that got me involved in like queer advocacy and like the gay marriage campaign. And that was my kind of break into like the gay space. And slowly by surely, I came out.
You went in knees deep then, straight into the advocacy bit.
Yeah. It was odd. I mean, I was still terrified. And I think maybe similar to you a bit, I had this view from the media that gay people were dangerous, that something was wrong with us. I also grew up in a very like religious community. And so being gay was kind of antithetical to who I wanted to be. I didn't think that I could have a family or be happy.
You're so fancy. You just used the word antithetical.
I know.
I had
couldn't
to
say-
take
I
a
was like,
second just to process that
what is
word.
that
I was like, what is that?
pronunciation? I love it.
I was like, he doesn't know what podcast he's on.
with my wee New York accent, antithetical.
Yeah, I'm going to say it a bit antithetical. It doesn't sound the same.
Oh, I'm
Not as
What do you
nice,
dry
not as
yourself
nice.
with? What do you dry yourself with?
with a towel. What do you say?
Towel.
Towel.
Tarl.
Tarl.
Somebody put an R in there. Tarl.
Yeah.
Towel.
Where's your tarl?
Towel. Towel.
So yes, everyone's probably going, wow, you make everything sound lovely. But what is your background and what the hell brought you to Belfast?
It was odd. So I worked in politics and government in the US for
We don't have that
almost
here.
a decade.
Were you lost?
We didn't have
Where
it
were you
here.
going?
Government?
What's
What's
the
that?
That was scary. So when I first moved here, there was no government, and I remember
Yeah.
thinking, how does anything here function? And I'm
Was
teaching
that,
government.
was that
this
the
year,
first
and I'm
breakdown or
just
was it
getting
the
a sense-
record breaking absenteeism? Which one was it?
I don't know at this point. It's only been it's been about 5 years, I think.
Okay.
And like I was working in politics and government, and I felt pigeonholed, and I wanted out of my career. I wanted to make more money, but I came from Yonkers, so I didn't have, I don't have a wealth of savings or like a family to rely on for like a lot of money. So I made a promise to myself. I went to Manchester in 2018, and if people know anything about me, you're gonna hate this. It is that I
love
have
football.
seen every episode of
I
Coronation
got that.
Street. I've seen just about every episode of Coronation Street, and so I went to Manchester in 2018, and I promised myself one day I would study and live in Manchester. So I applied, I got in, and then a boss of a boss ended up
Sorry to interrupt you. You watched Coronation Street in Yonkers or when you got to Manchester?
starting in Yonkers. I've been watching Corrie for over 16 years now.
Oh
How
my
did
God.
you? No, how did you
This
back
is
it up?
symmetry, but I'm EastEnders and I moved to London because I wanted to live in London because of EastEnders.
That is too
Literal.
depressing. EastEnders gave me depression. I started off working for a British.
You're clearly
TV
not
company.
tough enough.
I know.
Shouldn't be in
When
Belfast.
Pat Butcher died, I was. I remember watching.
I've never-
it was like the
never
3rd of
recovered.
January 2014.
Not the full date.
I've never recovered. And they knew they made a mistake when they killed her off. She's still
Yeah.
alive. They brought her back to the
Yeah.
flashback though for
And
Nigel.
her book is called
She could still do
End
that.
of an
Nigel?
Earring.
End of an Earring.
End of an
Iconic
Earring.
title.
Was she
Iconic.
back for Nigel? Or was it for?
She came back in a
Yeah.
flash. So he's had his dementia storyline. So he had a flashback
What's
back
happening?
to the 90s. So Barry and Pat were in, and Debbie, his wife, they got run over.
I
They a
did
great
say this was
flashback
not an EastEnders podcast. Do you remember that, Sean?
Babe, we have from our first episode where you've had to say, Sean, this is not an EastEnders podcast.
I
Like-
think we should dress him as Rita.
No.
I could see you in the cabin.
Elsie Tanner, if you're nasty.
Oh.
Elsie Tanner.
Look at me with my cultural reference.
Elsie Tanner. That reminds me of Bet Lynch there. That
Yeah.
box.
Jesus.
So I worked for this British production company, and I loved the accent, right? Like what American. And I said to them one day, I was like, well, what can I watch to sound like you? So they told me to watch EastEnders. Watched that, and I got depressed. And then I found Hollyoaks, and I thought that,
Holly Oaks.
I've never heard that pronounced that way.
There's not a space. There's no space between the
Hollyoaks.
Holly Oaks.
Hollyoaks.
Holly Oaks. Your focus is on the oaks and not the holly.
Hollyoaks.
Holly Oaks.
Hollyoaks.
We need to get you Brookside.
No, I've tried. I find that too depressing at all.
Out of all the accents, you're Jamie.
Jamie.
In Manchester and sounds
Yeah.
nicer.
I love a cup of tea, Manchester, so I do. See, that's where the Belfast bit comes in.
Oh,
which
aye.
But
Our accent's like syphilis, love. Very easy to catch and hard to get rid of.
A good line to do for Manchester is, let me try and get
Chicken and chips.
it. Can I turn telly on? That's a good one to practice for
can I
Manchester.
turn telly on? No.
Can I turn telly on? You're going posh. You have to stay
Can I turn
broad.
telly on?
Can I turn telly on?
But
how
you
you
see,
do
Manchester has this like it has
Really
this
good. I'm really impressed.
je ne sais quoi, and yeah, like
What with all of these fancy words? You're in Belfast. Brexit's happened. We have no je ne sais quoi. It's over.
Listen, if he's willing to take on our political system, he can talk whatever way
way
he
he
wants.
I'm steering away from that one. So they had me watch that, and then I found what was it? Yeah, Carnation Street, and I think was it 16 years? I think it was 16 years because it was a tram crash episode, the live episode.
Oh yeah.
And I was devastated. I spent a week just emotional. I mean, I think there was no.
died?
It was and then wasn't Ashley? No, Ashley. Was it Ashley?
It genuinely terrifies me how much you know and remember these things.
And the dates.
Okay, that affair. Oh, it were devastating. And
We're as perplexed as each other. It's
Yeah,
okay,
It's
Jude.
fine. We'll
I
get
don't know
through
what's
it.
going on.
Just
But let me
continue on.
Hopefully. They usually need them for me.
Honestly, my mastermind, if I actually got a audition for a mastermind and they were like, so your 3 specialist subjects you give us were Beyonce, Mariah Carey and EastEnders. I was like, yes. And they were like, can you give us one academic one? And I was like, 20th century Irish history. And they were like, so what you learned in school basically. But I just wanted to get on to the EastEnders. Just like, I will get every question right. Like I will do it.
A for effort though.
Yeah.
The Manchester bit pulled me in when I found Carnation Street, and I thought there was something about it that felt relatable. And I just thought the people were charming. I mean, Rita, I did love Rita because she was the first person.
Still
I kind of met.
alive?
Yeah,
Why have you
she's-
killed her off?
She's only 92, and Ken Barlow is what? He's only like 96. Yeah.
Yeah.
She makes very few appearances, and
Her dot was still in EastEnders, so she was
until the
Yeah.
end. Yeah.
But she was a Tory.
Was she?
That's a vicious rumor. I
On
will
the
not
show?
have you.
Oh, really?
No in real life.
He's dividing the gays.
Sorry, you're not thinking about Pauline?
No,
Fowler?
June Brown.
Jane Brown was not a
Devastated.
Tory. Was
She was. And she was
To be
really
fair,
lovely
so
with
was
Lady
Scylla.
Gaga.
So
Yeah. Rare.
yeah. Well, anyway, they're both dead.
And also, don't buy the sun.
So you were for Manchester and you ended up in Belfast. And what was the choice there?
One, it was affordability for me, and like there were odd connections that sort of like popped up for
Yeah.
Belfast, and then I thought, hell, just something different. I wanted
Yeah.
to challenge genuinely. I wanted to be uncomfortable. I wanted to.
You
Oh, well,
picked
we'll
the
do
right
that.
place.
I'd seen Manchester, and
We can take you places.
Oh well, here I've spent a lot of time up around Belfast the past
Yeah.
several months. I've been up to what's it called, the Boucher Road for the first time. I've been to IKEA.
Wow,
Okay.
really wild butcher road.
I,
Wow.
IKEA is traumatizing, to be fair. Yeah,
You can get
yeah.
lost in a carpet
How do you
shop.
walk around the balls of the falls?
Don't leave your bag down the Boucher Road.
It is terrible. Like, how do you walk
Down,
past
down
that?
Boucher Road.
That balls of the
Yeah.
falls thing? Like that is
Yeah.
like that's yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's look over there. Don't look at either side of the road. Do you know what I mean? But no, so you've been here 5 years, and we are always fascinated because we're very self-deprecating over here. So it is interesting to find from somebody that's from just outside New York.
Yeah.
You've went from Yonkers to Bonkers.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot more bonkers in Belfast. In things here, the first thing that hit me when I first moved here was how, I'm a serious person by nature, right? But people here, we take the piss out of ourselves.
Totally.
And everything always tends to work out in the end here. It's very weird. I know that sounds very mystical, but I found that everything
Mystical.
always works out in the end. Like there's this, I don't know, there's like a vibe. And I feel like people are really shy, but you always know there's someone rooting for you, which I've never felt that way before.
That's the gospel according to the Irish ma. If it's not for you, it won't pass you.
Yeah.
It's literally,
It's
well,
the
it'll work out for you.
leprechauns. That's them.
Or the leprechauns, yeah. Either one. Not to double down on the Irish stereotype. Wow, with the American. God. But yeah, so I wanted to ask you, because so you've lived in about 5 years, was it? So you've got obviously that intersection of minorities where you're a gay man, but you're also a massive Coronation Street fan. So how have you found that experience? Obviously I'm not talking about that, but how have you found that experience? Has there been much negativity or has it been?
Not a lot. I mean, I think the first bit when I first moved here, again, it was September 2021. The airline lost all my luggage. I packed up my little suitcase, my tiny little studio flat from Harlem. I packed up to move here, and I had my birth certificate, all my records in them, and I had my clothes. Obviously, that was all gone for about 3 to 4 days. I didn't.
What airline was it? Say their name.
We all
Shame.
know British Airways.
Shame on you, British Airways.
It was
Tut, tut.
torture.
So tell us about the first time you walked into Primark.
So actually, that night I got into town at around 8:30. I remember it like it was yesterday. Went to drop off my stuff at my student accommodation.
Can we do that with like wobbly thing where it goes all ooh flashback?
What kind of production budget do you think we have?
Or a little comment, but was probably easier, probably cheaper. And I walked into Tesco or Tesco's.
For
Sorry,
clothes?
Tesco's. Well, yeah, I needed toothpaste, I needed hair product and all. And if I knew you, I would have phoned you up for a wee bit of perfume and all as well. But
Perfume from Tesco. Were you wearing Febreze? You're like, I need to blend in.
have you not
with
tried
all
the
these
perfume
Belfast
at
people?
Savers? Their perfume is gorgeous.
Oh, but they're elite.
Well,
Yeah.
depends.
Good
And-
bargain in there. Get a good bargain in Savers.
And you have home bargains, which I'm obsessed with.
Obsessed.
Oh,
What's your
is
favorite
fab.
one?
The one on Boucher Road.
In the ghetto
It is a good
of
one. It's
Boucher.
solid.
Well, here, you got
Kennedy
the
Centre's
coffee.
also solid.
Kennedy Center's so
Huge.
far.
I know. Well, it used to be local to me. It's not anymore. Also, if you're fancying a day trip, Lisburn, the one in Lisburn's really good. The back end of Lisburn.
Too far.
It's a really good store. I think you can get a bus to it.
Sean McKay.
Has a dedicated bus stop.
I mean, he
So
can't
yes,
go with Boucher. Lisbon's a bit far.
I am not 50 years of age, by the way. All I talk about is East soap operas.
Hello?
And what is your favourite homeware
You
store?
go for a drive on the Sunday. A drive.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
We go out for a drive and we go to B&M and Home Bargains. Get our steps in by going around all the aisles.
How, do you have like gold shoes with like little kitten heels? I feel like
Can't you imagine
They're
them
for
in
the
them?
cleaning. I wouldn't wear those outside.
It's a wee dot cotton sandals, those little flip flops.
yeah,
Yeah.
love them.
With a
Love.
heel, just
Yeah.
about just shave an inch.
Oh, just make me a start, nice. You're gonna make me depressed.
Remember Roxy and Ronnie? That
I know. Oh, people are still.
and
People
the-
want to
the
bring them
wedding
back.
in the pool.
That would be
That
too
was-
far.
That was
That would be too
horrific. Wait, what did you ask me again? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Never
Yes,
mind
sorry,
his
about-
questions about
about-
home bargains.
no, about living as a queer person of colour in
Oh,
Belfast.
yeah.
in downtown Boucher.
And yes.
I can't get over this.
What was your experience of Boucher Road? When you said that, I was like,
Here,
Boucher Road.
the furniture shops here. We walked in. My mate was looking for a new sofa, kind of like this one actually. He wanted that L shape.
Yeah.
And
I think they'll notice if it goes.
there's a couple of dried stains here, so I don't know.
We never found out who his father was.
And we walked in there, and I forget the furniture shop. We went into two, but they like little restaurants in there. It was like on
oh,
a Wednesday.
Dunelm,
Yeah, Dunelm, and then the other one over there,
Easy Living.
maybe.
Yeah,
and
Shin Retail Park. Yeah,
the food.
Why are you
was
two the same people?
they've got great cafes.
Yous are the same people? It's freaking me
The
out.
food was delicious. The coffee, but yeah. So
In a furniture shop? I've never eaten in a furniture shop.
Oh,
That's a
Dunelm is
thing here.
great. Their cafe is great. Really good. Kids eat free as well.
House Pride isn't bad either. I'm just going to throw it. They have a great focaccia.
Easy Living, a good shout. They're building a superstore in Butcher, so go up in a couple months' time and it's reopened. It's going to be huge.
is it better than Primark? We'll see.
Oh,
We'll
100%.
see.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think like the first.
Also,
Right,
don't
we need
call
to
it
move
that.
on from
It's
granny
Primark.
topics. There's meant to
You
be a
with your
Pride
notions.
special.
Primark. Good evening. I have been to Primark. What did you get? I got a couple of massages.
That is actually how you
What do you
pronounce
say? It's a
it.
massage. Here.
No, messages.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
message.
Yeah.
But when I speak to people back home, I say, I say like all the time. It's weird, or I say I now. It's so strange.
We've rubbed off on you.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And all. I heard you say and all earlier too.
Oh wow.
That's something we say at the end of a sentence. And all.
I didn't realize that, whenever you walk into a place and you say, well, I did that in London and they did not understand
Yeah.
what I was saying.
They're looking
Is
like
this
what?
loony bin?
Well,
the shade.
For us, like so many times you go abroad, like I would go, can I get a vodka and white? And that is just not a thing anywhere. But like we call lemonade white lemonade because we have
Brown.
3 different colors of
Yeah.
lemonade here.
Oh.
So we're not that backward. Like we've more lemonade.
I've always just said lemonade or like we 7-Up or something.
Ah, yeah,
So can I ask a question?
yeah.
So you kind of both skipped over your coming out experiences. Were they negative ones? Are they ones you would like to share?
You sound like you edged yourself out of the wardrobe.
Yeah. Yeah, you tiptoed.
Oh, not ready yet. Oh,
not for me.
oh no, I don't like episode.
this furniture shop has no restaurant. I am not coming out.
You imagine
I need a new closet from the furniture shop.
the day that Jamie was in buying a sofa, you were in the wardrobe in the corner.
I was just hiding in a chenille wardrobe.
That he would open a restaurant and you hadn't noticed.
So far out the back.
So you sort of
Tiptoed.
Was it negative overall, or was it just torturous because it was over a period of time, or was it dead on?
It was mostly dead on.
Yeah.
I was quite lucky. There were also really, really difficult moments where, I was doing a lot of things for the first time, and, I was kind of the first openly queer person in my family, and that was really, really difficult for, like, my family, I think, as well. So, yeah, it was really, really challenging. And in a lot of spaces, I would be the only queer person. Even now, I'm never really in a meeting with or at an event with like a whole pile of queer people.
Is that because of what you do? Like, you just find that gay people just aren't generally allowed into those spaces, or?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that. I mean, I've sat on like a number of charity boards now. I've founded a couple of charities, and it's really, really funny because like a lot of things, people can't really imagine you as a queer person. So very often I would get, but you don't look like a lawyer.
Yeah.
And you're very dramatic, and I'm going, no, I'm
Dramatic.
actually...
You might as well just said, are you an artist?
Yes.
Are you a performer?
Yes.
Jesus fuck.
But like it's really funny. So there's loads of like minimizing
Yeah.
language, and it's kind of odd. Yeah.
Well, that's on them, like, but it doesn't mean it's not exhausting for you, do
Yeah.
you know? And it's not that, it's always this thing, you have to come out several times, never once.
Well,
do
it's
you
all
know?
the time, really.
Yeah,
You
like-
still come out. Well,
Yeah.
we still come out.
Well, as my ma said to me, you can't hide a Christmas tree,
Well,
because
it's
there was
it.
nothing that I done that wasn't gay, do you know what I mean?
Aw.
But
You are running around in a rainbow t-shirt.
yes, to be fair, to be fair.
But the emotional safety bit piece is important, especially in
Yes.
work, because you don't have that initially, at least, until we learn to be confident. I mean,
Yeah.
we also, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I felt grief when I'd come out, because I grieved, and I still grieve a wee bit, that we didn't have the chance to date or go to prom with a fella, the one
Yeah.
guy, the fella that we had a crush on. We didn't get to have those like early experiences that kind of mold that our straight
Yeah.
counterparts get to have.
I can relate to that. Like, and I only recently I was away on a holiday with my kids, and I read. Have you heard? Is it Simon Green's Heartbreaker? It's called. It's a young
Yeah.
adult sort of gay novel, and it's about two young gays, and they're in high school or they're in school, and they go to prom with each other, and I grieved a wee bit. I was,
Heartstopper,
I was like Heartstopper. That's it.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my god,
My
I
version
feel
of
like I
that-
missed out
my-
on something.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Heartstopper, yeah.
No, sorry, no, it's
Heated
not. That.
rivalry?
No, sorry, no, it's Heartbreak Boys.
Heartbreak Boys.
That's what it's called.
Well, the
It's
equivalent to
fab.
that back in the day is the play called Beautiful Thing that got made into a TV series, and it's one of my favourites.
Yeah.
It like breaks me every time I watch it.
Yeah.
Because there's like seeing your young self, and it's on a housing estate, which was very my backstory, do you know, that way?
Yeah.
And it's Mama Cass as the backing track, so.
What about EastEnders? What was who was the wee one who came out in EastEnders, or who tested positive? And
Oh,
that became a
Mark.
whole thing.
That was Mark in the
Redmond, or
80s.
Mark,
Yeah, in the 80s.
But I think
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first kiss, and it's really, really funny because Piers Morgan called for EastEnders to be taken off air because of that kiss.
Of
Yeah.
course he
And
would.
Really, yeah.
But like that's what well, it shows you like in some way the soaps were leading the charge back in the day, like Brookside with the first lesbian kiss, and scandalizing
ginger.
the nation, because it was putting them
We
right
are
in front
filling
of them.
all
do you know?
the stereotypes. You get 5 gay guys, and we're talking about soaps. Like,
Yeah.
Well,
seriously.
I mean, for the part that they do good, do you know what I mean? And who doesn't?
Art
Love
reflects life.
football.
The next time we're going to put music videos on
Football,
YouTube,
soccer.
for fuck's sake.
So,
What about you, Jamie?
yes,
How
your
was your
coming out
coming out?
experience.
Oh, oh wow, that was wow.
That was it.
It was painful, I think, because I didn't feel, my family are Baptists, and so I didn't feel like I could come out initially because, one, I'm living at home with my mom. What happens if things go awry? You see all the stats, queer kids are some of the most likely to end up houseless, right? And I remember still getting involved in queer advocacy because that's where I felt, I don't know, a sense of community, even though I initially didn't understand it.
Was it something that was maybe making you feel stronger too?
Yeah.
That you felt like, oh, I need to make
Jesus,
space for
I
it?
feel like a power ballad. Come on, feel stronger.
And, oh yeah, sure.
Well, you started the song, so finish. Joking. But you know what I mean? Like, if you were coming from where you come from and you didn't know it, not only you get in the community, but like starting to create space for yourself by doing it for others too.
I was really dumb about it though. So I remember we had the gay marriage rally or gay marriage campaign, and I found my first mentor through that, and he'd invited me to some of their marches, right? And we're hanging out around Stonewall Inn. I remember there was media there, and I happened to be around there with a little placard in support, obviously, of marriage equality. And I didn't think anything of it. I figured separate cities, and my family's in Yonkers, other than the South. And I think the next day or a few days later, my father called me and he says, we didn't speak much. And he said, son, did I see you at a gay marriage thing? And I didn't want to carry on the conversation. So I think we both disconnected. And then my mother was asking me like why I was upset after a while. And I said, look, he asked me why I was at this thing. And I remember her response, like it was yesterday. She said, well, what difference does it make? And then I felt I didn't have to come out. I still didn't want to say those few words, but it was there. But yeah, it was, I think that's where I learned to, release a little bit and just learn that I had that physical safety. So what harm would it do if I pushed the boundary a wee bit?
Yeah. It's one of those things too, though. You've imagined it so many ways in your brain before the actual real life scenario comes out, and it's the one that you didn't think of, you know, in that regards. And what about now? Do you date? How do you find the dating thing? You're
Disaster.
Oh my God! What's your type? Let's get you the man.
Yeah.
Right, but this is turning into blankety blank.
Spam, I don't know. Awful.
I can see what you mean. No,
I have
joking.
awful taste in men.
Really?
It proves to me that sexuality is not a choice. It's not a man that I'm gonna- They're awful.
Well, here you've got Jamie Dornan.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he's really, really lovely. So my friends,
Oh, where's this going?
So basically, we have like a lot of mutual friends, including the people who cared for him after his mum died. So he's like a bit of a brother.
Yeah.
Well, not a bit of a brother. Like I've met him about 5 times.
Yeah.
But he's really he is so sweet and he's so lovely.
He's very well thought of everywhere, isn't he? Too,
Yeah.
and he's gorgeous.
And his dad is just like was the loveliest
The
man.
gynecologist.
So you telling us you dated Jamie Dornan?
Well, weirdly, we both worked for Dior at the same time. Although he was a model, I was working in Boots. So we were very similar.
6 degrees of separation.
Do you have his number?
No.
You've had like a bit of you've had a few brushes with celebs though. I need to know the story about how Nicola Coughlan ended up with your hand-me-downs. Pride.
What?
London Bride. Tell the
Who's she?
story. Nicola
What
Coughlan
the-
from
Bridgerton?
Derry Girls,
And Derry
Bridgerton.
Girls?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Irish
she's
girl.
lovely. She
Yeah,
seems,
she's an
What
icon.
do you mean?
I'm bad with names. Also,
The wee
her-
lesbian from Derry
The wee
Girls?
lesbian.
The wee
wee
lesbian.
I didn't
Derry-
know she was lesbian on Derry Girls.
Oh, in Derry Girls.
Was
Yeah,
she,
Claire.
was she the one in Bridgerton who had the affair, or not the affair? She got married in the last series. I've never watched Bridgerton.
Yes, she's the
my
ginger
God,
one.
There's scenes in the van or whatever, or the horse carriage where
Oh
Yeah.
yes, there was.
yeah.
She was
crazy
getting
sex
fingered in
scenes,
it.
Yeah. Go her.
Scandalous.
She was?
Sex positivity. We're all here for it.
I know.
So yes, tell us the
Shut her
story.
box, Nolly.
Okay, do you know what? It was really, really funny because I was working in London at the time, and I was living in London, and it was the Rainbow Project wanted to have some visibility over there, and basically nobody over there had a Love Equality T-shirt, and I got a message from somebody going, "Do you have a T-shirt?" And I'm like, "Yes, but I don't think it's washed." So I came back from a night out, and like she sent a taxi for it, and I'm just like, oh my God, I haven't even washed this. This smells of like actually really good aftershave, not being in Bargains crap.
Dior.
Yes, but I threw it into a bag, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to think like I'm an absolute minger. That's stinking. So I threw in some. This was like way back in the day, whenever Diane Abbott was scandalized by drinking a mojito.
Oh,
So I had loads of mojitos. So I sent her like tins of mojito, and yeah, she really.
And she wore them at London Pride?
Yeah,
Amazing.
so it was really really cool, and yeah, it's really
Yeah,
really
and that
nice.
got to promote. So that was during the. Well, we can touch on that now. I suppose so. You were at the forefront and helped with the marriage equality campaign.
Yeah, I think it was more of a movement. It's really really interesting up here. You know just how difficult and how traumatic it was. I mean, I don't love going to weddings because I still think that they're not really for me. And I've been to some awful weddings where
The dress was hideous. Sorry.
I know. Well, you can really tell if somebody has no gay friends, like the state of their makeup. I mean, if you look through our politicians, I mean, it doesn't. Anyway, and that's just the men. But
Common for the girl.
The blusher placement is like, what is
Yeah,
this?
they need to be gay.
Yeah.
Was it not Michelle that got red for filth over her eyebrows? Meanwhile, she was standing beside Arlene Foster. I was like, are you having a fucking laugh?
Oh,
Like her eyebrows
Me and
don't
Arlene.
match or something. I was
So
like, well, they're
nice.
not meant to. But
Sorry, but you were saying before I really interrupted. You were saying that marriage isn't for you.
no, I think it's, whenever you don't identify, you haven't grown up identifying that that's the life that you want. And it's really, really difficult for queer people, I think, to imagine what it's like to be married.
Can't be
yeah.
kind of thing, yeah.
But I think marriage equality taught me a lot about advocacy, about changing minds and having conversations, and like the importance of having difficult conversations and sharing things, even if it's not very comfortable. If you own your own story and if you share your story, that's actually a form of justice, I think, where you have a society that doesn't really see you. You're actually reclaiming part of that. So do you know what, it was so much fun. Like I remember it was always very difficult watching the voting in Stormont, knowing that it would fail because of the petition of concern. And I'll never forget, there was an MLA called Michael Copeland, and we're not related, but he was one of the first unionist politicians to back marriage equality, and he had this. He just said, everybody's entitled to their life, and it was really, really, really lovely. And then he retired from Stormont, and Andy Allen was elected to take his place. And what was really, really lovely, he talked about his military experiences, and he said about, he had been in the army with a lot of different people, and Andy Allen. It's important to the story, but Andy Allen uses a wheelchair, and he made a joke in Stormont saying that he wanted to stand up for gay rights, and it was just like the loveliest thing, because he was it was just a beautiful moment. But that was just, there were so many amazing moments of solidarity. The last march here, before it was passed, I was in London, and some of the abortion rights campaigners were like, no, we need to have one in London as well. That's really, really important. So there were only about 10 of us. I think at one point there were maybe 6 of us, but we met outside the Northern Ireland office in central London, and it was so lovely because it was just a very small group of us. And I had printed off this really, really funny sign. I thought it was very funny. It was like Mother of God, Marriage Equality Now. And the guy from Line of Duty was in it. And it was really lovely because this woman saw it and she's like, oh, I need a photo of that.
Was it Richard Dormer?
No.
Adrian.
Oh,
Dunbar?
Adrian Dunbar.
Yeah, he's
So good.
Hastings.
Yeah.
He's the
Ted
main guy.
Hastings.
Yeah.
So good.
Now we're cooking my gas.
But it was, but it was so lovely because it was Siobhan McSweeney, and so I met her in like so many different protests, and it's really, really cute
Amazing.
because
Sister Michael.
because it's like a lovely
Amazing.
feeling of togetherness.
That's amazing.
And it's good when the big names put their
Yeah.
faces to it, because it gets obviously more traction and stuff. And what do you think? Because I was talking earlier on, and do you think that the way the world is now, with the big points pushed back, and how things have kind of shifted to the dark side, to quote Star Wars, do you think that is a pushback because there was such a strong global push for marriage equality? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Like, you think this is like a retaliation for us getting
It
so
feels
far?
retaliative because we've gotten so far, and it was almost like it galvanized those that with their opinions to go the other way. Do you know?
I think it's really, really simple. If you have a politician in front of you, it's one of the easiest things that they can talk about is identity politics, because they can come across in some like, oh, I'm really values led. I'm for the common person, and this is common sense and all of that stuff. But they can spend all of their time talking about that and not be asked about their real job. So whether it's about holes in the road, not being able to get a GP appointment,
minimum wage,
waiting lists, like all of those things, it's actually, I think it's a really brilliant distraction, and that is why people talk about it, and that's why people want to talk about it, because if they're talking about pronouns, they're not talking about the breast cancer waiting list, which is appalling. We have some of the worst waiting lists, and I just think that's really, really disgusting. And it doesn't matter that it's really, really hurting people. Doesn't matter.
Distraction tactics and the human impact. Yeah, you're right. Isn't thought about. People are just used as a punching bag.
I think that there's the other piece too globally, that we've had this massive change in culture, and I feel that we haven't had or continue to have those sorts of conversations. So with the big marriage equality campaigns globally, the tactic was talk about the gay people in your life, humanize them, have those conversations with your family members, isolate family members who are homophobic. And almost 20 years later, we now, or a little over a decade, I suppose, later, we've stopped that. And I think that those conversations have sort of ceased. And I think that that's created a vacuum for us to go backwards. I think, though, that we give politicians too much grace. We allow them to steer away from the economy. We allow them to focus on these old cultural issues that are important. And I don't distract myself from them. And in fact, for my own research, I look at identity politics, because we've always had identity politics, right? But we've never given it this voice. Yeah.
We get our carbs so people know.
I just think that there's a cultural piece of talking, and I think maybe part of the new world that we live in, where it's all social media, which I love, but I do think that we are no longer capable of having those sorts of conversations or being honest with people in a way that might ruffle some feathers. And I find that here, since moving here, it is really difficult to have those sorts of difficult conversations, right? And that's been difficult for relationships, and being a very brash, unintentional New Yorker.
I think, like, over here, we genuinely, the majority of people here are very live and let live, but they're very easy galvanized into an opinion as well, and feel like they want to fight the good fight sometimes. So it's whenever the politics isn't really involved in it, we're generally, like, literally the government shut down, we ran anyway, everything went on. Now, it doesn't mean things didn't go wrong, but I felt that the people were more together, and the structures withheld.
I also think that, like, people here are so afraid of politics because it's so divisive here. I think, like, I'm probably going to say the wrong thing, but like common folk, like people, just normal people, day to day, whatever that is, they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to deal with it because it's been so quote unquote backwards here for so long, and it's so difficult to have your voice heard because the politicians aren't listening.
People are working.
They're
doing
their own thing.
And for the do-gooders as well, so the people that actually get into politics to make a change and to do something different and to be different and be, non-sectarian and to try and change the systems and the institutions, they don't get through, because then people panic when it comes to the election times and the politics of fear comes back and be like, look what happens if you don't vote for us, they'll get in. And that tit for tat, and so people panic and they'd go back to their old sort of tribal ways, and it's really unfortunate. And that's slowly but surely, you can say, like, the growth of, like, the middle parties is helping a little bit to sort of break that up, but it's by no means anywhere near where it needs to be. So that's not
fast enough.
The primal, the first thing that we think about.
And I think there's, I'm lucky enough to have met a lot of the Women's Coalition leaders, and it's really, really funny because a couple of them, they have such words of wisdom, and they're just like incredible leaders at a very difficult time, and they did it their own way, which is incredible.
They kicked down the door.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it was Monica that said, people would have you believe that politics is difficult, but you just get in there and you do it. And there is a lot that I see of the queer community not putting themselves forward sometimes. You know, the people, you know, all of us have a visibility, and, you know, we are able to use that, and we're able to talk tonight about all of these things. And, you know, there has been a huge amount of progress, but at the same time, you know, rural parts of here are still very, very backward. It's still not a safe place.
Well, look
and
what happened mid East Antrim Pride last year. They tried
Yeah.
to walk down Ballymena, and the night
Yeah.
before
And,
they
you
dropped
know,
the slurry.
yeah, but I think that happened. But actually, the most important lesson was that the community came together to clean it up.
Yeah.
And that is what we are as a people.
Yeah.
You know, we have this community mindset, and it is just very, very difficult. I mean, I do some community work, and it's very, very difficult when I've got we've had a really, really lovely event, and everybody's had loads of fun, and then some people want to take photos at the end, and then all of a sudden people are like, no, I can't be in a photo. And it's people
I
of all
have
ages, and
experienced
it's
that
so,
once or twice too.
That's
yeah.
sad.
Yeah.
because we're so beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not one for stealing the limelight, but I will take a picture
Yeah.
with you, like, you know. But no, it did happen whenever the comment section in the Belfast Telegraph, which should never be trusted anyway, but like I had done the thing for the opening, they opened the street and pedestrianised it,
Yeah.
and there was some local politicians and I had came for it, and the majority of them were up for it or whatever, and the other ones were like, no, I'm busy over here. But like it all kicked off in the comments from people, so I can see why.
Yeah.
But if you're going by the comment section of the Belfast Telegraph, you're not doing your job properly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be on the job. You can't be sensitive in nature to be on it. You know. But where do you think then, with all the things you've studied and done before, like with the stage that we're at, where do you think is best within the community as a whole? What can we all do better, or is there certain areas that we should be looking at that we can focus on and galvanize? Because this is one of the reasons why we're doing this. We want to kind of I understand where we're at and understand where we want to go and how do we do that, you know. So it's interesting speaking to you.
Whose voice can we lift? Whose
Yeah.
cause can we fight? We know the obvious ones, but
Well, you did kind of say it there. Is like not being afraid of politics is one thing, getting involved in it and having those conversations, you know.
Being visible, right? Like we have to support each other and being visible and pulling each other from the margins. I think
Yeah.
that's huge. But you asked me something earlier that I forgot to actually respond to, and it was, how have I felt from that kind of intersectional level, right?
Yeah.
Now, when I moved here, again, it was September 2021, and I remember walking to Tesco's, and I didn't see, now I'd done a lot of research, obviously, before moving here, and I knew that where I was going, where I was studying, you know, wasn't very ethnically diverse. And that was to be expected, right? And I remember going to Tesco's and feeling like that kind of hyper visibility, right? And I'd never felt like that in my life, or the way people look at you and whatever. And I think part of it is because, one, I'm exotic, right? I'm from a different country, but the other piece is that I'm visibly black. And so that was difficult, I think, just getting used to, solely because of being singled out. So I'll give you an example. I've never felt more uncomfortable in a setting in some places in Belfast where I've literally been harassed by people who have shouted at me that, like, I'm RuPaul. Like, I literally was out one day and this girl wouldn't stop following me around this place with her phone, recording me, shouting at me, calling me RuPaul. And I went to another bar in town, and I remember this woman walks up to me and she's like, she's never been with a black man before, and groped me. And I thought, like, that, and that wasn't the first and wasn't the last time. And I thought, well, I had difficulty talking about race because when I did, it then became like, again, there's a political sensitivity, right? But I think finding ways to be, like, my mantra is be comfortable being uncomfortable, and to be unapologetic about taking up space. And I think allowing people, like, I don't mind if people are uncomfortable talking about race around me. Like, let's be uncomfortable together. Let's work through it. Because when we're vulnerable, that's the only time that I know I grow, and then I hope, you know, other people. But I think, again, like, highlighting space for those from the margins to be included. But I think talking about these sensitive issues and learning terminology, you know, like, some of my mates when we first met would refer to me as like, what's it like being colored? And there was no bad intention, right? But in the context of where I grew up, that'd be really offensive. And so I think we respect each other where we're coming at culturally. And once we understand each other, then we can work through it. But I think having those sorts of intimate conversations, being vulnerable, and learning to be, when to be an ally. And I think allyship isn't something that we call ourselves. That's something that we we show.
Yeah.
And I've become more intentional about that as I've gotten older.
Yeah, and I think it's that saying of like, forgot it now. The vodka's kicked in. Oh, what was it? Oh, yeah, it's not. You may say something that's not correct, but it's about your intention.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, like some people whisper, "Oh, they're black." It's like you can say the word black or call them black. It's fine. Well, how are you saying it? What are you using it for?
Yeah.
You know, that's the.
There is certain people over here that just through lack of education then panic and then lean to the first wrong one rather than what their instinct was
That's
to
me.
do. Do you
I
know?
am that person.
Which
I am that person.
again,
Uneducated.
isn't a problem unless their intention is wrong with it as
And
well.
you can
do you
usually
know?
tell, like, through
Yeah,
vibe.
of course.
And I bet you can relate to this too, right? Because I like what you were saying just there before about like being the only queer person in the room. I remember my first job. So I ended up somehow working in politics. And I remember my first big boss was Michelle Obama. And we were in...
Not Michelle.
Right, okay.
Rewind.
Well, hold on. I just want to finish this bit
Oh
there.
my
And
God.
I remember,
Jonathan,
so
clip
part
that,
of the,
please.
Part of the work there in politics was that... So I did advance. My job was to go to cities or places in advance of her and plan it with the team, right? And I remember so often I would be the only person of color on the team, the only gay person, right? And you feel that, and you kind of feel that we're representing the communities that we belong to, right? Like, and we do, because if we make a mistake, the whole community is targeted.
Yeah.
And so like that taught me just to like
To go
push
high.
ahead, and we have to dress 10 to the nines. We can't afford to look lazy. We can't afford to slouch. We've got to work on our postures. And those are things that I picked up from my senior mentor queers who taught me, like, when you walk into a space, own it. When you walk into a space, you know, you walk in not with just yourself.
Was your
but you walk in with
mentor
your
Joan
family.
Yeah.
Crawford?
The icon that she
So
was.
hang on, your boss was Michelle Obama.
Yeah, so I did advance for her. So yeah, like my job was, I can't call her my boss in that sense, but for example, let's say she was coming to Belfast or coming here, right?
You ran messages for Michelle Obama.
Did you go to Primark for Michelle Obama?
I went to Primark just for her. So let's say she's coming here, right? So my job would be to come here a few weeks in advance, get a sense of the layout, identify where we want her to go, and then send some diagrams back to the office. And then when she arrives, she'll look for me, and then I'll say, "Ma'am, go here, sit there. Who's talking?" And then I'd say, "Avoid one of these fellas."
Have you been to Butcher?
Do you guys want to go into this her homeware shop? It's called Dunelm. Beautiful cafe in there.
Dunel May?
Fit for a first
Yeah,
lady.
we might be at this launch of Easy Living. Who knows? You know?
She might open it. Oh, great. Is she as iconic as I imagine she is? Because every interview I've ever watched of her, any podcast, she is just
She's
legendary.
real. I mean, she's
Yeah.
unapologetically real. And that was a first for me, like to work with a politician like that. She also wanted to make sure that she supported young people of color. And if anyone looks to her staff or people who work for her, they'll see that these young women, young black women who work for her, are running businesses now. They are happy. They are doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I think she taught me to just not care. I mean, I read her book, her books, and she just kept pushing. And, you know, I think for me when I was younger, and again, I wonder if you felt this way too, but when we're in these spaces and when we're the only one, I certainly internalize it. And I remember if I walked in with my team, and let's say there's a team of 6 of us, and we're in a different country or a different city, and I would find that if I was wearing just a pair of black pants, maybe a loose shirt, right? The people would just always assume that I was Secret Service. Always. But
Same here.
Yeah.
I can go no
I
further.
wish.
they would
There's your man from MI5.
either that or they would assume that I was hospitality staff, which again, there's no problem with that. But I remember thinking, there were times where I was a lead on the team and they would point me out as a person to like go get them water or something. And I was like, well, I'm helping to run this team. And you internalize that when you're young because then you think, is that my worth? Like, is that how the world sees me? And then that's hard to break out of. And it took me some time to get through that.
Yeah, you gotta own your.
Well, it's a thing I think it's a thing for people in Belfast here is like tall poppy syndrome, you know, like talk yourself down, you know, it's in our vernacular to be like, oh, you're getting too big for your abouts, you know, it's all of that. And it's for young people here, it's what I'd want is to escape that sort of terminology and that thinking of, and then the gay queerness into it. It's two things working on you, do you know?
Humility
So
never gets you anywhere. I mean, we can be humble and also say that like, we won't get our flowers unless we ask for it, right? Like permission is, or what do the politicians say? Power is never given; it's always taken, right?
Yeah.
So I tell people just take up space, right?
Yeah.
And being humble doesn't get you that job promotion. Being humble doesn't help people see you. Being humble doesn't help. You know, being humble has never helped women get promotions.
No.
Right. And so I always tell folks, push, like, be uncomfortable. And if being proud of yourself burns bridges, then you're in the wrong spot to begin with, which I know is still a privileged position for a lot of people but you have to juggle that scenario.
I know I do agree, like, but it's easy for me to say because I was doing drag the whole time. But like, just demanding your respect and demanding your space in the world is just something you have to do. You can't, you know, rest on your laurels and as you move and navigate through the world, it becomes your norm that you don't really need to think about it anymore, you know.
And there's a lot of, you know, I've realized that sometimes I make people feel uncomfortable, but that's actually not my fault. It's because they're uncomfortable, sometimes with themselves. And it's really, you know, it's a bit of a process of, you know, finding out who you are and actually exploring your own culture and your own community. I mean, a lot of my confidence, you know, I can track back to, you know, certain things that I've done in the community. And I mean, I did, you know, I'm an advocate in the sense that I can appear in a number of different courts, and I've done additional training and all of that boring stuff. But actually, one of the things that gave me the most confidence was doing LGBT history walking tours, because you had to talk for 95 minutes, 2 hours, and you had to walk around Belfast, and you had to sometimes shout stuff back at people whenever we got abuse. And you were also like sharing the history of Belfast, and all of these corners of this city have some form of queer history, and some of it is devastatingly sad. And you know, I feel a real responsibility for some of the people that I talk about on those tours, because you know, you've got like Constable Darren Bradshaw, who was murdered in a gay bar. He was betrayed by somebody in our community, and you know, his story has been partially told, but actually it wasn't really told very well by people not in the community.
And the truth is still not fully...
No, but you know, and actually this is our only form of justice, by telling stories. The same with Anthony McLeave, who was murdered on his brother's anniversary of his murder in the 1970s, and lots of people forget all of those things. Like Warren Macaulay, who had a secret name, and he appeared on the scene as Aaron, and you know, he was murdered. And all of these people, I do sort of think that, you know, we're living the lives that those people could never have imagined. And I think in that there's a bit of a duty to actually advocate for ourselves, but also for others on the margins. And you know, the intersectionality piece is really, really important. I do quite enjoy whenever some people have very vibrant conversations with me about immigration, and they're like, oh, but like, you know, they should go home, and I'm going, I can't really talk about this, because growing up I had 3 Auntie Marys that all lived in America. So I have a family of immigrants. O'Hare Airport is named after my granddad's family. Like, they were immigrants. I mean, they were also like Al Capone's lawyers, so like, we're not ideal family, but like, that is all really, really important.
Just a minor detail.
So that airport has one of the most, I think it's O'Hare, but has one of the most interesting cruising stories where
Excuse me?
a conservative Republican senator, I think it was O'Hare, was caught toe tapping in, I think it was O'Hare Airport.
Toe tapping as a musician?
Well, in the
Stalls.
In the stalls.
In the biblical thing.
I think it was O'Hare. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? Just, you name some names there of stories of LGBT men from the past, and I will hold my hands up and plead ignorance that I don't really know those stories. And how for people listening, how would we go and find those stories and find out more about our own history and about the city's history? And you mentioned the LGBT walking tour.
Yeah.
Is there other sort of resources for us to be able to reach out to? And
Yeah, there's loads of stuff on social media, and I said that like a really elderly person. Social media,
The
on
social
the
media.
internet,
on the internet.
the Facebook.
On the website.
On the internet.
But you know, there's a really incredible thing that there are people who are elders in the community that remember all of these people.
Yeah.
And there are lots of gay men who were murdered, and their families did not know justice and have not known justice. And you know, Anthony McLeave was murdered outside the Royal Courts of Justice, and it was in the middle of the night, and it was whenever there was the Ring of Steel in the city centre. So I don't remember that. Well, this was in the 70s before I was born, but nobody really cares about him other than people that talk about him.
Yeah. So it's almost like it's like an oral history.
So
There's not like
a lot of
official...
it's word of mouth. It's not.
Yeah.
Real.
Yeah, we need to create an archive. Basically.
Yeah, that's just going to say we should
Yeah.
be able to pull
Yeah.
something together for all these people that
That'd be
don't have.
really
People
that
can
don't have
contribute.
those.
Memorial, or I'm assuming there was definitely a funeral. Was this something that was well attended by the
So,
LGBT community?
well, it was really difficult. You know, some of these murders happened at a time of criminalization. So,
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, because what was it, 82 or
Two,
something
yeah.
here? And that had to go to the European Supreme Court to be overturned. Jeff Dudgeon literally had to go to the Supreme Court to have the law equalised with Great Britain.
so I mean, if you
Still
think
illegal.
about,
Started, wasn't it? In that time period?
yeah,
'Cause they
it was
were
before that.
call
They were
f-
incredible.
Yeah, they were a call center basically.
Yeah.
That was secret coded and never kept any names or
Yeah,
details.
Queens, yeah.
So it was like this in-house thing. It was it was amazing, yeah. But so the backstory to that even is linked in with the troubles and being queer here
Yeah.
and all of that sort of thing. And obviously, if you're not allowed to really speak about it or be caught given a name because you're trying to protect other members, then anybody that's killed is left kind
Yeah.
of stranded. Oh, like we didn't know them.
There's
'cause
also
it's
really
related
amazing,
towards-
lovely gems of history. Like,
Yeah.
do you know like Lower Crescent near Queens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably about 50 years ago there was like a secret queer Christian group that used to meet in there, and it was just all of these people.
That is so
from
typical of
different
here,
I know, but no, they were Protestant Catholics together.
No, but I mean even
Yeah.
that to be queer,
Yeah.
but then still find some way to get back
Yeah.
into religion, like you know.
So it was really, really
Yeah.
lovely. So
Like
they
a
had
Bible
like,
study, a gay Bible study sort of thing.
yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
Well, Bible study's more Protestant. I don't know. I think they had mass. I don't know how they did it.
Yes.
But
They were
had, like,
bumping their
little
Bibles.
A wee bit of Dolly Parton in the background that pleased everybody. No, but like this is what I found. I found the interesting queer stories here is like the punks and gays used to hang out together in the 80s and stuff because they were both ostracized for being who they are, expressing themselves. So in the wee clubs and dens that they would have hung around in the city centre, they would have all hung out together and been
Voodoo
like
and all?
just coexisted lovely. And the same thing I always say as well is like the gay community was the first bubble really where Protestants and Catholics really mixed and blended well together. Do you know, partied together, done all that, and it was because you were ousted from your own communities and found a new one, you know.
Like I really love. So it's all abandoned kind of now, but the Chariot Rooms in North Street was one of the first gay-owned bars, and Jim and Ernie, who ran it, were the first. Well, they were convicted homosexuals,
Right.
so they had been found guilty of being gay.
I know it's wrong, but
What?
it sounds so
Sounds so
cool.
hot, yes.
It sounds
So
cool.
iconic.
I want to
Yes.
be a
Can it- where's the
convicted
Chariot Rooms?
homosexual.
Sorry,
So it's do you know where?
Is that where the deer's heads is facing
Yes,
that? So they
behind
used to be like,
Ryder,
yes.
Yeah, so that big arch. I don't know why.
There's a
I'm
club
doing
network
arch.
there
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Network.
So it's up from the
Yeah.
network. It wasn't
Yeah,
the
yeah.
network.
That whole row is
Yeah.
done like it's there.
But it was really, really incredible because it was upstairs. So whenever you were going there in the 1970s, you would have to be searched on the way in through the Ring of Steel. So you would be patted down.
Yeah.
If you were a lady with a handbag, you would have your handbag checked and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But this was upstairs, and it really annoys me because there are no photos of this at all. Because it was illegal to be
Yeah,
gay, so
yeah.
nobody could take any photos.
But then it kind of adds to the mystery
yeah.
of it, doesn't
yeah.
it?
We can make it as
Someone
romantic as we want
should write a
as-
book or a
yeah.
story about
It's
this.
so gorgeous
Yeah.
because it was upstairs, and there was always somebody on the door, so you kind of had to know somebody to get in.
Was it like a knock slide
Yeah.
situation?
The old Kremlin was like, and this is so the early 2000s or whatever, it was like that. It was one
Yeah.
door that you went in and you couldn't see it. The bouncer stood in behind the door and you had to go in. So it was like, it's what made the magic of it.
Yeah.
I was going to say
too,
that's
you know?
so cool.
It was.
But like the chariot rooms, there are so many amazing stories
I'm
of people
so
going there for the
fascinated
first
in it
time,
all.
and they like. Because I don't know if you were aware, but in the 70s and 80s there was a lot going on here. But the police, because they were bored and had no work to do, yeah, it was awful. There was much more drama. But the police actually would kind of raid that bar,
Yeah.
so they would go in and they would like see who was there. And basically eyeball them and kind of threaten them. But what I really, really loved was the chariot rooms was upstairs, so the lights would flash the lights on and off,
Right.
and then people would like push away whoever they were dancing with, and then find somebody of the opposite gender, and like be
Not the lesbian in the twink standing in the corner. Hilarious.
And my favorite thing, and I told Lola Pettigrew, who just loved this and has told loads of people, because I don't know how sectarian you think we are here. We are very. But in the 70s, the only people drinking in the city centre were the punks and the queers.
Yeah.
And you would have had like security services walking around, but most of the bars would have closed at 6:30, 7 o'clock. So the Duke of York, that closed at 6 o'clock, 6:30.
Oh my goodness.
It was just empty. But what I love was all of the bars would do their national anthem. So whatever community you're from. So yes. But what I really loved was in the chariot rooms, they played ABBA's Thank You for the Music.
Okay.
And everybody stood for it. And I
Okay.
just love that.
Yeah,
Was this
yeah.
something that closed the bar? They would play the anthem
In the
Yes.
Yeah.
it's very local thing
Yeah.
over here, yeah.
So speaking of punks and queers, so in Coronation Street in the 70s, one of the big punk storylines, like that's where you saw solidarity. cross the line.
Yeah.
So sorry, I just had to bring that up.
Well, the Grand Central as well, which was right in the epicenter of money and wealth. There was a gay scene in there, as people had told me years ago. Yeah, like the waiters and stuff would have been gay, and like they had inside information of like maybe sleeping with some of the big officers or like politicians and things. So it was always going underground. And you saying about the police and the army here, like there was always like a crossover and an interest because they were in their lives, and so they were closeted basically, and this is their one way to intersect with it and interact with it.
Just to see it.
Yeah, or like
Almost let's raid this place to see
So
what's
there was
actually happening.
it was more of an interest in it because they never really arrested or all of that sort of stuff. They kind of were like, but I do find it interesting. It's a unique sort of environment in that sort of civil war of how gays sort of navigated their way around in a gated, closed city centre, like, you know.
I feel like we need like a philanthropist. Can you say that word for me? Philanthropist.
Philanthropist.
Thank you. There we go. Sounds so much nicer. To buy where the chariot room, I've got an idea now. Buy the chariot rooms where it used to be, and then we'll make it like the Gay Museum of Northern Ireland. The Queer Museum of Northern
My
Ireland.
dream is to have a queer disco there.
Like,
even if it's alcohol
just
free,
once,
I would
yeah.
love there just to bring it back.
I wonder who
One
owns
off.
it.
Will
'Cause
we
you know
bring
sometimes they do
pop-offs
that
this
take back. Do you know what they do like take back the night or something sometimes, and they open like the abandoned buildings?
Well,
that would be ripe
it's
for it.
used for late night art.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of used.
It's perfect
Now, it's the
thing.
weirdest. I mean, it's an office building. It's like
Well,
offices, but boring.
I'll talk to you after because I have an idea now. Something's come into my head.
Just like wall to wall share. Do not
We
put
can
me
do.
on the music.
We can make, yeah. But we could do it, and then we'll finish obviously with "Thank You for the Music," which,
Yeah.
by the way, when I first started going out, that was always the last
Yeah,
song played.
yeah.
Can we
Yeah,
have Julian
but-
Simmons there DJing as well? Or play
We'll get Julian to DJ. Absolutely. We'll get all the.
We can't
We'll
work
get-
together ever since the incident.
And there on the chariot rooms. Well, listen, boys, I think we're going to take a break, but we've ran
We've
right
ran
through.
right
It's
over.
been so interesting. We could have
Really?
spent another, of course, we could have spent hours talking to
Stadia.
you. I know. Thank you. Yes, we'll do one more question.
One more, go for it.
We'll finish one more question because I think it's a really good way to sign out. So, what's been your best achievement so far in your careers or your personal lives, whatever? And then, what's one thing you want to achieve that's left? Could be anything. Could be pie in the sky. Go for it.
Yeah. Stumped.
Okay, thanks for joining.
All right. So tying into what you were asking earlier, or talking about in terms of the humility piece, right? so that's something that stumped me for a while. And I noticed, so part of my PhD at Queen's, I get to teach student politics and history. And I noticed that a lot of students, particularly like folks who are from rural communities, or like most of us are either first gen or not far off students, right? And I noticed that a lot of them didn't feel comfortable speaking up or presenting their work, especially for my fellow neurodivergent people. And so I got to create a program at Queen's, like it's my own sort of thing where I will meet with students. I particularly advertise it to students who are neurodivergent, mature students, so folks don't feel left behind. So I got to create like my own module essentially that I run and that I get to help connect people to.
That's amazing.
And that feels meaningful, right? Like I want to, like I believe that uni should be about access and making life feel accessible to people. Like there's gotta be a purpose. In terms of what's next for me, hopefully I will finish this PhD in the next year. And Jamie Dornan and I will be happily
He will come out first publicly.
or Richard Dormer off Line of Duty. Like he is. Oh,
Who's that one now? Who does he play?
He was in Fortitude as well. Like he's got that lovely like ginger beard.
Is he not in Blue Lights?
Oh, sorry, Blue Lights. Oh,
Jesus.
well,
This is how you get cancelled.
edit that for us. But yeah,
Dormer. I probably know. I mean, if he's ginger, I probably fancy him too.
I think
so
he
my
was like
husband's
one day
ginger,
off
so-
retirement and then he died. Like, no, it didn't see that
I
coming.
gotta be careful with these TV shows. So what I've been doing lately is going up to people and like, "How's your ma doing?" And then, then you make that mistake, and the person's like, "Well, not so."
Oh,
well
that
at the
was
moment."
wild, wasn't it? That was wild.
The Avon isn't going so well.
What for you about you, Jude?
What would you like to see or do? Or
I don't know.
What's been a career highlight?
There have been so many, and I think it's in the small moments around Pride that are just magical. So, you know, I remember walking around. I was walking with Intersex Ireland in Dublin Pride, and there were 3 of us holding the banner because intersex people are really, really forgotten. And I was obviously shouting very, very loudly in favour of intersex rights. And I ended up, there was somebody who was very vulnerable, and he was kind of on his own, and I could tell that he was really, really anxious. And he was just overwhelmed because, well, put it this way, I'm now of the age that I get to go at the front of Pride parades. I don't know what's the back, not the cheap seats for me. But it was really lovely because he was feeling really overwhelmed, and it was his first Christmas.
Well, it is gay Christmas.
First gay Christmas.
It was his first Pride. Living with HIV, and it was his first Pride sober.
Okay.
And we had the loveliest conversation, and my friends just took him under his wing, under our wings, and we walked around with him on Pride, and I was so proud of him because he had made such a big step.
Yeah.
And you know, that is what Pride is about. It is about including people whenever they need it. And, you know, we need to be very, very conscious that, you know, we are not equal until everybody is equal.
Everybody is, yeah.
And, you know, trans people, intersex people, all of the minorities should get their flowers, to steal your saying. And, you know, I love rural prides. I think rural prides are really, really important.
Yeah.
I think Belfast Pride's incredible and it's really, really big, but actually you can make a real difference by turning up, by going all the way to Oma or
Fermanagh.
by going to any of the rural prides. I have a real soft spot for Foyle Pride, and it's very moving being there because Foyle Pride takes the same route as the civil rights marches.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I have marched in Pride with some of the civil rights leaders.
Wow.
And that's just a reminder that a lot of us don't have civil rights. Some of us are doing very, very well for ourselves.
Yeah.
But there are people, and there might be people listening to this and watching this who are very vulnerable and cannot be themselves. And it's up to us to show up for them and help them along.
So basically show up at Pride and you will reach out a hand of friendship and take them under your wing.
At a distance.
And
At a
everybody-
distance.
And everybody will.
Well, listen,
Amazing.
thank
That
you
was an incredible
so
chat,
much.
really was.
I really appreciate you both coming on and sharing your stories and giving us your time. It's
And
really,
thank you
really
for all you do as
appreciated.
well. You've both done amazing stuff.
Yeah,
So
you have.
keep
And
fighting the good fight.
we hope that we will have some sort of
Christine
gathering.
Baranski, I want to be her whenever I'm a lawyer.
I know that you channel her. You channel her in the courtroom. I can
do.
tell.
My statement, like
What's her best song from Mamma Mia?
all of them.
Oh,
Just
does your
take
mother know?
Does your mother
On the
know
beach.
that you're-
Oh, so
yeah.
good.
Guys, get it
Iconic.
together. We're trying to do an outro.
Sorry. Okay. Yes. Yes.
I
Back
do
in
want
the
to
room.
say, what's the one? School bag in hand. That's my favorite.
Okay.
She
Jamie,
leaves
I
home
don't know
in
this
the
one.
early
No,
morning.
talk us.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
Anyone can fall in love.
That's the easy part.
That's our outro song.
Yes.
Thank
Bye.
you, boys. Love you very much. And see
Thank
all
you so
soon.
much.
Bye bye. Boots, we're all hooked on Tootsie Train. Tootsie Train.